Live from the Hoboken Historical Museum in beautiful uptown Hoboken. It's Hoboken Talks, the regular series from the museum, an online virtual series in which we talk to the fascinating characters around town, be they musicians, authors, entrepreneurs, social workers. It's a lot of different types of people around town. Today, we're talking to Emily Dalton. Maybe you've used your services as a social worker at the public library. Maybe she's helped you in her role as a member of our CERT team. Maybe you've just been someone who's around town and you know her family that's been here for a while. Well, we're going to get into all that and more today on Hoboken Talks. Hi, I'm Jack Silbert, occasional host of Hoboken Talks. Very happy to be back. Behind the screen is Rand Hoppy, the collections manager of the museum and also the director of Hoboken Talks. Rand, say hi to the people.
Hi, folks.
Normally, and I know at least one viewer is going, "What's happening? Something's askew?" Normally, there'd be a thing here, green screen. We call it in the business, and it's green. And if everything was going normal, this is the background you'd see. Emily, what are we looking at here?
So we're looking at a photograph from my
I mean, I know what we're looking at.
photograph, but this is an image from my dad, John Dalton, who's a photographer, and it's one of my favorite pictures of his. So I thought it would be a very special background.
That would have been a great background. Unfortunately, not that this is a shabby background. This is a totally fine background. It's actually three of the paintings by Raymond Smith. That's the current upstairs exhibit here at the museum. So come by and see the rest of them. But Emily, thank you so much for joining. It's been a long time and concerted effort on my part to get some chunk of your family here, and finally
We did it.
we've landed you. So I appreciate that a whole lot. And if you're watching at home, and I know some of you are, you're watching live, go onto your Facebook, a little the thing, or the YouTube, and you can say hello. You can ask a question. Don't think you can say something like really nasty because Rand won't share it with us. So you'll just be wasting your time. Although you might want to just see if you can embarrass Rand. That could be something to do. No, don't do that. And you're saying, well, I can only watch for 15 minutes or so. Well, guess what? On YouTube, this is going to be instantly archived, so you can go back and watch anything you've missed because you're not going to want to miss a second of this. And I'll just say one other thing before I start because I guess I've been in town 30 years and have this friend that I used to work with, Michelle Lynn, and she kept saying, "Have you met the Daltons?" I'm like, "I haven't met the Daltons." You haven't met the Daltons yet? You have to meet the Daltons, and you're both volunteers at WFMU. How come you haven't met the Daltons? Finally, I've met the Daltons, and my life is all the better for it. No, I kid you not. And so I'm thrilled that you're here. Born in Hoboken?
Born and raised.
One of BNR.
A BNR,
Yeah.
a true BNR. Very proud of it.
Absolutely. At St. Mary's, or was it?
Okay, so we'll get technical.
Let's get technical.
Let's get technical. I was born in Englewood.
Not
but I was,
not B and
but I
R.
was short,
R, but
very-
not B.
Yeah. Well, like born and then a couple hours later.
The family was
came back.
here. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
On the
established-
birth certificate, Hoboken.
Yes.
All right.
The hospital just, it's fine.
You have to be born somewhere.
Yes.
Look, it's Susan
Susan.
Lawrence, who says hi to
Hi, Susan.
Em and Jack, which is us. She's a sweetheart.
Yes, she is.
All right. So there you go. Born here,
Revealing secrets already.
but wait, do we have a photo of the young
We do.
you? Let's
It's after
take
the rainbow. There we are.
look at you, and also at the waterfront.
Yeah.
There. Whereabouts are
So
we?
this is, I believe, in between Sinatra Park and Pier C. But Pier C obviously has not been built yet. You can see the old dock in the back.
Yeah.
But it was Sinatra Park, I think, had just been renovated. I don't fully remember this day, but I do remember that summer going there a lot as a kid.
Sure. Hi from Pat Lombardi, former guest of Hoboken Talks. And, but you're not this is not the original generation of your family in this town. What, the grandparent lived here?
Yeah, so my mom's side, my great-great-great-grandfather immigrated from Ireland here.
Wow.
So, I think it was 1830 or 1840, around that time frame.
Do we know his name?
Michael Lally.
Michael Lally, who, and I should have added this to the
Oh, yeah.
slideshow, but he was a firefighter
Yep.
here in town, and actually at the fire museum, which used to be open, but I found in the old books James Lally there from the 19th century, so that was pretty cool in the log books.
Yeah.
All right, so that's what, you're the sixth gen. Well, let's we have some photos from the past. Let's take a look.
Yeah.
And who are we looking at
So we're
here?
looking at my grandparents. So my grandmother, who's in the lovely pink coat, she is a descendant of Michael Lally. She's of the Lally family. Her name's Edna. And then my grandfather, Frederick Ortega, was also born in Hoboken in the 30s. They're both born in the 30s, I believe. So that's a picture of them. I believe at their brownstone or their house on 12th and Garden. That photo was taken.
Wow.
And then this is a picture of my grandmother when she was a baby. And it's a very cute photo, so I figured I'd add it in. We love baby photos, so it worked.
So that's Edna Lally
That's Edna Lally, yep.
on the streets of Hoboken.
Probably, it looks, if I'm looking correctly, maybe Park Ave. I'm not sure. It looks like there's a factory building in the back. I don't know the exact location, but there's a series of these photos, but this was the most clear one that we had. But it's very cute.
Any fans of Hoboken Talks, if you can identify that exact corner, you win a t-shirt. The first person only.
Yeah.
All right, let's.
So this is
Now we've gone a little forward in time.
yeah. So now we're in the '60s. This is my mom who grew up in Hoboken, who could not be here to be interviewed with me, but I felt like giving her a shout out.
Absolutely.
And so she grew up on 12th and Garden as well. And this picture, she told me, was taken in, the Santa one was taken in 1963 at a department store where the Athleta currently is. So it used to be a department store, so that's where that photo was taken.
Can we zoom? Oh, what does it say on those boxes?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
I can, I'll zoom in later. And then peppermint something, maybe.
Okay, that makes sense in context.
Yeah. And then this was her dance studio, which was on the corner of 13th and Park. I think there was a dry cleaner on that corner for a while. I'm not sure what's there now.
Right.
But that was her dance studio.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
So these are great photos that I also love the Santa in this photo. It's quite very stylish.
And look at that buckle.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. And then we
So this is a scrapbook page that my aunt put together for my grandfather Fred, who he excuse me, he worked at the Maxwell House coffee plant for
Fred Ortega.
Fred Ortega. So he worked for Maxwell House for many, many years up until its closing in the 90s. I don't know exactly what his position was. I think he moved around a lot. But he loved Maxwell House, loved working there, was very sad when the factory was taken down, and couldn't believe that all those big high-rises were put up in its place. So it's very special to him.
Sure. That's I love that, the MH Hoboken, but I love that the coffee cup is on the
Branding is everything.
And the neon cup, Rand, where is that today?
We have a drop
We have a
in the museum.
yeah.
But I don't know where the cup went. I don't know if the cup exists.
We have a drop.
We have
That's
a
something.
drop. We have the last drop.
The last drop. It's good to the last drop. These are great. What's
These seem like photos he took. Just one seems from obviously those two are from the roof, and then that other one looks like it's a boat dock.
almost looks like a robot.
Yeah, it does, a robot arm. Yep.
I am. All right, that's great. Well, sure, 1125 Hudson Street. Fantastic. All right, let's keep going.
This is another photo. So I don't know entirely where my family is in this photo, but I'm told it was taken. I believe we actually got this from one of the museum archives, but it's been a family photo from that time because their house was it might have been this one at the end where all the folks are standing at the end of the house, but it's a scene from their block. It was a communion that was happening. And so this is just one of those photos that's existed whenever we talk about my mom growing up in Hoboken.
Right.
This is something that's shown. And I wish I knew exactly which one was my relative, but I'm assuming from the left where the woman in the orange shirt or yellow shirt, my grandma might be one of the women in green on the side. But yeah, this is just kind of a fun photo from the archives that was found, and my mom and my aunts loved sharing it.
The photographer was, now I'm having a memory lapse.
If anyone watching can name the photographer,
Oh my gosh. No, but
Rand
she was the spider lady. She lived on the block.
Spider Lady.
Yep, she worked at Koifel and Esser. She was
Okay.
She was deaf.
You're getting it. It's coming closer.
And she, Jesus, wow, that's so funny how that happened.
All right, it's
yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Look at the fins on that car. That's
Yeah, they're
cool.
great.
These little ones on the side carry, kid carry the. I don't wanna. All right, let's keep going. Let's try to get a reunion of the kids in that photo.
So this is a photo of me and my grandfather Fred at Elysian Park. So that's me on the swings with him, and then in the back you can see the factory. I believe this was right after it closed. So this photo was probably taken in 1998, maybe 1997, because I was still about 5 or 6 years old.
Right. Nice days.
And this park has been renovated since this photo was taken. But
Not that it needed to be.
Yeah,
It's a
you know.
perfectly good park there.
And then this is a fun photo from the Ragamuffin Parade in Hoboken, which was a treat every year. My mother would make my costume, and we would all walk in the parade. It was such a treat and a joy, and sometimes I still wish I could dress up and go walk in that parade.
Hey, who's gonna stop you?
Yeah, truly no one, I don't think.
Now, do you know these?
I know.
Who you were standing with at that time?
I do know that at the end, the Pippi Longstocking costume.
Yeah.
That's Delia Kempf, who also grew up in Hoboken, and I'm not too sure who the other two are.
Okay.
And then the people in the back, I have no idea who
Right.
they are.
Right. That's all right. That's all right. Anita Heimbrook, was that the photographer?
Yes.
Ah, that's good.
Yeah. She was cool. We had a nice exhibit for her stuff. So, yeah.
So these are two kind of different photos, but I wanted to add in my parents, who love Hoboken, the Daltons that Michelle spoke so highly of to
sure.
you, and representing Bike Hoboken, and my mom really loves, both my parents really love Hoboken.
John and Denise.
John and Denise
Dalton
yep.
there.
And then this was a photo on my stoop on my first day of school when I was going to pre-K at Wallace School on 11th and Willow. But this is our house, and it is shared every year when I was going to school as my first school photo.
Right. And Ray, let's come back to the two shot for, because this seems like, just to talk a little bit about your memories of growing up, of being a little kid in Hoboken up to being a teen.
Yeah. Yep.
What kind of sticks in your mind beyond the photos, but sort of happy, strange, sad, whatever?
I loved growing up in Hoboken. So we originally lived on 3rd and Grand, between Grand and Adams. There's an older building that was converted into apartments, so we lived there for 3 years. And I have a very vivid memory of when we moved uptown. When we moved, I had chicken pox. So we moved to our uptown house, our apartment.
You didn't move because of the chicken.
No.
Okay.
No, just a coincidence, part of the move. But I remember when I was a kid pulling up to the Maxwell House factory that was there, and there was ivy everywhere, and I thought we were in a completely different world.
Right.
I did not think we were in Hoboken. I had no idea that we went from 3rd Street to 11th Street. So that was one of the first big memories. And yeah, just growing up around Elysian Park. I would play in Elysian Park every day. Going to school. My parents were part of the founding of Elysian Charter School.
Okay.
So there was a core group of families that were part of that, and we would all connect. And so I have some lifelong friends from that.
Right.
Susan Lawrence before was part of that, childhood growing up. And yeah, so just a lot of happy memories. I do have a bad memory I have is when before Sinatra Drive was paved, there used to be railroad tracks on it. And when I was learning how to ride a bike, my parents were they were like, you need to learn how to ride this bike.
As we saw in the photo,
Yes, Bike Hoboken. We love riding bikes.
cycling enthusiasts.
Yes, and I learned how to ride my bike in Elysian Park on the grass, and my parents were like, okay, we're gonna go for our first ride out on Sinatra Park. And I was doing great, but when I came back, my wheel got stuck on one of the tracks that had existed on Sinatra Drive,
Right.
and I skinned my knee.
Oof.
And I think that was my first major accident ever, and I still think about it
And you've
often.
never ridden a bike again.
No, never been on a bike. Never been on Sinatra Drive ever, or been on a bike. So very traumatizing.
You're okay now.
I'm
Everything
fine. Yeah,
okay.
it's okay. We're healed.
Went to school in Hoboken, and then you were thinking about college.
Yep.
And what was in your head? Like, what interests in you? Like, maybe this would be a good place for it.
So I originally, so when I was in high school, I went to High Tech High School in North Bergen, which is a county school.
Excellent school.
Very great school. I was studying architecture and art in that school. And so my ideas were either I'm going to study art or architecture.
Where is the High Tech High School for the folks who don't know?
So of my time, it was in North Bergen.
Right.
But now it is in Secaucus.
Interesting.
And they're very lucky to be at the Secaucus campus, because that was a dream when I was in high school.
A longer commute.
Yeah, it's a longer bus ride.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I studied art and architecture. I ended up going to Rutgers, which is also where my mother went. She was a graduate of Rutgers. And I studied fine art at Mason Gross for my undergrad.
Thinking you would paint, sculpt,
Photography. Yep, I studied photography, and I loved it.
Yeah.
But it's hard to be a photographer, and so it didn't happen after that. But I loved Rutgers, and I'm happy I got a BFA because I learned so much about how to see the world.
Probably made some other friends who you've had since then.
Have made successful careers in photography, so it's good to see them.
Well, look, not everybody can be an Anita Heimbrook.
Yes, that's true. Yes.
So you kind of you shifted gears a little bit.
I did. A big shift.
And here I'm gonna say something, because last night I was hanging out with Troop 10308, I think, of the Girl Scouts, and they they read the oath, and the part that I really focused on was they say that they promise to help people, and that really spoke to me. I've been, I think, medically diagnosed as a helper.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. I believe that.
Which apparently is not always a positive thing. But your folks absolutely are helpers.
Yep.
And Apple did not fall.
I had to help. It was in my blood. I
Yeah,
think they'd be very
yeah.
disappointed if I didn't help.
And so how did that interest in social work grow from photography to social work?
Yeah. So in 2016, so I graduated undergrad in 2015, moved back home to Hoboken. My dad had been really involved in CERT, with the Community Emergency Response Team. He had gone through the training, really loved it, found it very valuable to the community. So in 2016, I joined, became a full member, and completed all the trainings. And at that time, we were doing like warming shelters, I believe,
Right.
and the Art and Music Festival, like kind of just the regular events. So I was an active member in that.
Warming center. You can't call it a shelter
Warming center,
unless you offer food.
yes. So warming center, the warming centers, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed helping. I enjoyed being part of my community in a meaningful way. And then the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And I should say I had been working in New York as a project manager, not really loving corporate life. And then the pandemic hit, and CERT was tasked with operating the call center, which you also were a full-time member of at that point.
Spent a few, 14 months.
Yeah, 14 months. Yep. Yeah.
Wait, now I think we have the next photo. I think is in CERT gear.
Yes, it's actually at the call center.
Oh wait!
that's
Oh,
Rutgers.
first,
So,
congratulations.
Rutgers, yes, this is actually from my master's program, but we'll get
We'll
to that.
get back to that.
We'll
All
get to
right.
that.
Let's.
There we
we
go.
go. Let's.
So the one on the left, the headshot taken by our CERT photographer Roger Muller.
That's right.
Sergeant or Captain Muller.
Sergeant.
Sergeant. Yeah, credit where credit's due. But that was one of the call center days. So we were answering phone calls about giving information about the pandemic. I remember at that time it was getting people tested, COVID tests, which were happening under the viaduct. So it was, providing information, resources, getting people these appointments. And I really loved that work. I loved being, the information hub. I loved the feeling of giving someone that information and then having it be meaningful. That was a really hard time for everybody.
Right.
And so from there, I decided I don't like where I'm at right now. I want to go back to grad school. What a better time when we're all locked up to go back to grad school. And that's when I went into social work. And you actually wrote me my recommendation letter to get into social work school. So thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
Glad it worked out.
Yeah.
Did school start virtually?
Yes, I was virtual for a whole year.
Wow.
Which was kind of lonely and kind of weird when you're in a helping profession and learning about helping, but you're sitting behind a computer screen.
Yeah.
But then I had the opportunity to start doing an internship, and that led to my work at the library. So it all kind of stemmed from CERT being this helpful volunteer profession that I loved, and I still love doing CERT work.
And the other photo there's your dad again, who has risen through the ranks
Yes.
to captain, but he basically runs
Yes.
the Hoboken chapter of CERT, and this would have been at the Arts and
Music Festival.
Music Festival.
Yep, and that's Councilwoman Tiffany Fisher is also in the photo.
Is a member of our team, and I think that's our I forget her name.
I think it's Gia.
Gia.
Yes.
Gia.
Sorry, Gia.
There was cut off. And let's, Randall, can we go back and celebrate, because that's a lot of work to get an advanced degree there at the State University of New Jersey, Rutgers.
Rutgers. I love Rutgers. Anyone who's looking for higher education, go to Rutgers. That's my pitch.
Good pitch. So let's go to the two shot again. Oh wait, no, not yet. Soon. So the library. Now you had probably you went to the library when you were a little kid.
I did. Many times. I got my library card there on a school trip. They signed us all up for library cards. I used to go to the library after school in high school, and I would go through their CD collections and burn the CDs to my computer and then put on my iPod. So I think I combed through that CD collection many times.
Sure.
Trying to find good music. But it was great.
What's one album that sticks in your head that you got at the...
It's probably something embarrassing. I think I got a Fleetwood Mac CD,
Okay.
and that was my intro to Fleetwood Mac. So
Fantastic.
there you go. Thank you, Hoboken Library.
Quality. No, it's very. I was just reminiscing yesterday. The group Spoon, and they've reissued an album, and I'll always remember that album because I had gone freelance and I couldn't afford to buy music, so I got that one at the library, and so that.
Yeah, and I remember being scolded at some points by very nice librarians because I took out more. I was only allowed to take out 10 CDs at a time, and sometimes I would try to get 12 or 13, and they tell me you have to come back. Can't take that out.
Right,
So I
right.
would come back the next day and just get another 10.
Juking the system.
Yes.
I love it. But now, as an adult who's you were still in the midst of your degree.
Yep.
How did that happen? Was there an ad? Was there...
Yeah, so it kind of all happened at once. So Andrew Luck, who was the community engagement manager at the time, approached me. He was like, "You're in social work school. You know, I'm at the library. We're trying to get a social worker in to kind of develop a program or see what it could look like." And I needed a summer job, and so I figured it'd be a 6-month part-time position. And I started in June of 2022. And by August, I was sold. I wanted to do it. So I changed over my internship plans for that year, made it at the library, and haven't left since.
Now, and that was the first, at least, that I'd heard of having a social worker in a library setting. Is that sweeping the nation?
It's sweeping the nation, and in New Jersey, there are 5 full-time social workers in libraries, including myself.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and there's a lot of social work interns in libraries in New Jersey.
Yeah.
So not to discredit their work, but full-time paid social workers in libraries, there's 5 of us.
5. And do you hang out with them?
We have monthly talks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're all friends.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's a good community.
And it'll be interesting to watch that number hopefully grow
Yes.
a lot, and hopefully recent political events won't.
Yeah, get rid of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I would love you to talk about what you do in the role, what services are available, maybe what hasn't worked, what's worked especially well, whatever you want to.
So my role, it's evolved over the 2 years. So I went full-time in June of 2023 after I graduated. And I had originally saw the role as doing programs in the library, overseeing, let me back up a little. The thing I love about the library is that anyone can come in and get access to information barrier-free. You can use the computers, take out books. You don't even need to have a library card, which I think is important to say because I think a lot of people think you need to be a library card holder to enter a library, and you don't. So I loved that idea, and I talked to a lot of the librarians, the reference librarians in particular, and asked them, what do you see people coming in for? What are their needs? What do you feel like you can't assist with?
Right.
And a lot of them said, people come in to fill out applications for food stamps or unemployment, and they can't do it, or they don't know how to do it, and then the librarians just either don't have time to fully assist, or like it's that barrier. So I found that was where I needed to fix. Like that was where I fit in to the grand scheme. So reference librarians are wonderful people, librarians in general, because they are keepers of they have information and they're sharing it. So I came in and I developed programs based around those ideas. So on doing food stamp assistance, one called Project ID, which helps folks who need help getting their IDs or vital documents. They can come into the library and we assist with basically from step 1 to do you have an ID to all the documents, making them an appointment to go. And then we've most recently gotten state funding for a grant program for unemployment insurance. So we're able to help people who are unemployed and need to fill out applications. They can come to the library, and we are trained to fill out the application and answer any questions they may have.
Terrific.
Yeah.
It's terrific.
So that's like the easy of what I do, the
Yeah.
easy answer.
What's the hard?
I don't do therapy. I feel like I need to always say that.
Right.
Just because I'm a social worker doesn't mean I do therapy. I will talk to you. I will talk to you at length about what is going on and to get to the root of the problem, but we are not a clinical therapy service. So that's
Okay.
what we don't do.
If someone watching wanted to maybe use these services, what's the best way for them to?
Get
Do
in
they,
touch.
do they just show up, or do they?
So don't show up because I'm probably busy. But I do try not to turn anyone away if they do come in with an immediate need. But on our website at hobokenlibrary.org, there's a social work page,
Okay.
and you can book an appointment right there with me. My availability is up. I get the notification, and I'll meet with you.
Great.
But it's if someone comes in and they have an emergency need, I will do my best to assist. So
Fantastic. Other challenges that have become easier?
I think honestly the appointments have been helpful. I originally started with drop-in hours. So
Right.
the idea was that I would be available for 2 hours a week. You could come in and ask me anything. And that was great because it helped me figure out what the needs were of the community. I was seeing a lot of at-risk individuals, folks from the shelter, or even just people that had questions. So I got a better sense of what needed to happen at the library and what services we could do or extend. But that also became kind of a nightmare because we'd have just people coming in all the time, and I'm only one person.
Right.
So-
right. You can only do so
Only
much.
do so much.
Yeah.
But now I actually have the help of the City of Hoboken social workers, Bianca and Lori, who are wonderful, and they're based out of City Hall. And they come to the library now. And
Are they full-time
They are full-time, yes.
social workers?
Yep, and they're...
Degree holding?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
fantastic.
They are there, yep.
So that's all right. So that's greatly, exponentially increased the assistance available to the community.
Yeah, and I think it's been a game changer
A
for our
great
town.
thing. What's what's been the most satisfying?
I've had a lot of good moments, watching. I've seen people from the shelter get housed, not because I got them an apartment, but because they utilized library services or would we created that relationship. I really see myself not as a fixer, but as a support. Like I am there to support you and provide any assistance I can. So those have always been the wonderful, heartwarming moments, and
Right.
also just seeing people realize that the library is a space for them that's the biggest joy. We call it library joy. Having
Great.
people come in and say, "Oh, I didn't know I could I could use a laptop," or "I found a comic book that I haven't read in a long time," and that's really special.
Love it. Rand, now let's look at some photographs.
So this is part of my cert.
So
This is
this
when I
still
was accepted or my inauguration into CERT with Mayor Zimmer and Brian O'Neill and Sergeant Montanez.
You were a class of one?
I think there was other people. I think the photographer just got me.
Okay.
Yep.
We have a photo ID.
Oh, 12th and Garden.
All right.
Yep, there we go.
All right.
Very cool. You get a
You
T-shirt.
get a T-shirt. Contact the museum, and if it has to come out of my pocket, so be it. Now here you are at the library.
Yeah, so this is a snapshot of what I do at Outreach. So we attend outreach visits throughout town, and we do a lot of social service visits. So we go to the shelter occasionally. We go to lunchtime ministry every week on Wednesdays to meet with patrons, and we bring discarded books. we sign people up for library cards, and we give out giveaways or flyers for programs, whatever is happening at the library. So this was actually at the PIT count, the point in time count, which is a annual event in New Jersey, and probably I think throughout the country, but where they count homeless folks for 24 hours to get an accurate representation of that number.
And these is pretty well attended when you do.
I mean, it was the first year we did a count. We were a count location at the library, and I think we counted and surveyed 36 people in town who were experiencing homelessness. So that was a huge number to be able to contribute to the county and state's overall count. And we gave out backpacks that Stevens students put together that were just care packages. So it was really special.
Nice. And it's nice for the different organizations to work together and for the greater good.
Yes. So this is a kind of my other pride and joy, which is the community care shelf. So part of the library mission is we give out hygiene kits, period kits, life-saving kits, and then I have seasonal kits, which are either sometimes it's rain ponchos, it's hand warmers and Mylar blankets in the winter, and then in the summer it's sunscreen and an ice pack in case you're experiencing heat exhaustion. And then we have other community resources, which you can see the flyers, and then these are quick resource guides that I put around the library. So if you are not comfortable coming and disclosing that you need to speak to a social worker or are unsure where to start, you can find one of these quick resources and take it, and it has websites and links and information you'll need about that.
And the kits, where are they located for someone who
So when you walk,
hasn't been to the library?
when you walk into the main library at 500 Park Ave, you can go up the main steps, and to the left, as soon as you enter the door to the left, you'll see the bookshelves on the side, and they're discreet. And the mission,
No questions asked. You don't
questions
have to
asked.
sign anything.
nope, my whole, and it says it on every single sign. It says, take what you need, no questions asked. So if you need 10 hygiene kits, take them. You need 15 pads or tampons, take them. We restock every week. I keep track of the numbers, but the more numbers that they go out, I see that as a success.
Right. I can't take those paintings.
You can't take the paintings, no. They'll get very upset about that.
All right, now I think we have some group shots.
So this is, again, an outreach visit. We go to the senior centers. That's my team, Allie, Natalie, Mayor Bala. Sasha.
Mayor Bala's on your team?
He's on our team. No, we snagged him for this photo.
Okay.
But we go to all these. We do every senior building. We go once a month. So like tomorrow, I'll be at Fox Hills with my team for one of their Thanksgiving parties. So we are very in the community. I'm part of why I'm also busy is I'm sometimes not even in the library.
Right.
I'm outside the library.
Right. Yeah, and at these outreach, people are also finding out about the services that they can.
Yep. And they can talk to me there too if they need help. I'm around. I'm on the clock, so you can ask me questions.
You're also a notary.
I'm also a notary. Yes, so if you need anything notarized, it's a free service.
And I have used Emily's services and her predecessor's services.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
Mr. John O'Toole says, "What a great young woman."
Thank you.
You're not so bad yourself, John.
And then this photo is one of the highlights of my career so far, and also as a Hoboken resident. I was honored by the City Council in 2023, I believe, during Social Work Month, National Social Work Month, which is March. Emily Jabor, Councilwoman Emily Jabor, is also a social worker. So I've had a great relationship with her professionally. about being a social worker and being in public service and what that means to a community.
Right.
And so I had written an article for the Social Work magazine about my work at the library, and Emily Jabor found it very important. And so I was asked to come to the city council meeting and read the article and talk about the work I was doing. And then they surprised me with a proclamation at the end, which was unexpected. I thought my whole family was there and Jenny was there just to watch me read. I didn't know, had no idea that was happening, but it was a great event and a very meaningful moment and something I'll never forget.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, you and Steve Fallon have received.
Yep.
We have the whole city council there with the late great Jen Giotano.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was
That's
a really nice moment, especially being a Hoboken resident. You know, it was nice to have my work acknowledged by the leaders of our community, to know that my work is important and that they valued it. There's no words for it.
Well, very well deserved, and it's also, we were talking about the helpers, and a lot of work happens behind the scenes, and unfortunately is not recognized often enough or deeply enough. So when it is, I think that's extra special. At any point during that ceremony, did you touch the mic or the stand?
No, I follow the rules.
Okay,
very well.
Good. I'm glad.
Yep.
And we have one more photo, which was this was an article about you that appeared in NJ Spotlight News.
Yes. Yeah, so I wanted to share this because it's, again, the recognition of the work. And in this article, you can look it up on NJ Spotlight News, but I highlighted the other social workers in libraries that are doing this work.
Yeah.
And also celebrating the librarians that are already doing this work. I often joke that the difference between me and a reference librarian is I'm not afraid to ask for a social security number, whereas that's, it's too personal sometimes, but we do a lot of the same work and the helpers are there. And even though it's really wonderful to get this recognition, I want everyone to know that your library is a place you can go for help, that the librarians there are passionate about this work as well.
Right. And if they don't have the answer right there, they'll figure it out and get back to you. All right, let us return to the two shot, and let me look how we're doing on time. We're doing fine on time. All right, so I have a question that I hope you'll answer, and I had interviewed Spike from the shelter. Was that Rand? When was that? Was that?
Oh my gosh, that was a while ago.
It was a while, 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. So if he was here, I would ask him this, but have you. So it seems like, well, not to seem like it, recently in town and in other places as well, but there's been some, I would say, demonization of the homeless community, the unhoused community. I would, if you're able to speak to that, as I think people have misconceptions about who's in a shelter and who's coming to visit you.
Yeah. Well, I want to just say that I understand the concern in the community, and I never want to make anyone feel unsafe or uncared for, but I think the beauty of Hoboken is that it is a safe place for all people, a safe and welcoming space. And I think we need to remember that when we wonder why there's so many unhoused folks or at-risk folks coming here for services. This is a safe place for them.
Right. And
can you imagine being in that situation and not having anywhere to go, that this is the only safe thing you know? So I always try to start with that. At the library, I'm really fortunate. I've actually met a lot of my patrons at the shelter and at Lunchtime Ministry, which Spike runs as well every day. It's an amazing program. And my job there is to meet them where they're at, connect them to resources, and learn about them. Why are you in Hoboken? Why did you choose Hoboken? And many of them are from this area. Many people have family ties to Hudson County, maybe grew up in Hoboken, Jersey City. So they're not from here. They're from here. They just they don't have a home here.
Right.
And so my interactions with them, I start to get to know them and talk to them about what their needs are, what the issues are. And I understand my sphere of influence is at the library. I mean, I have a lot of connections outside the library with the county for services, but I often think about what can I do here in these four walls to make this a safe space. So through my connections, a lot of them were saying, we'd love to have a meeting. We'd love to talk about what we want to see, to be understood. So once a month, I host a homeless advisory group at the library where we meet, and anyone is welcome. You don't have to be homeless, but if you are recently housed, new to the area, or even just a community member and want to get to know people, we open it up to the public. We have discussions. We talk about what the library can do for them. What programs they want to see. The Elizabeth Public Library has a similar advisory group that we worked with to kind of develop this program. And they coined the phrase that they see their homeless population as their most valuable patrons because they are there using the library for the internet, for books, for shelter, for safety. That is what the library is. So we were trying to figure out a way to honor that and honor those most valuable patrons. And so through that, I've learned a lot of lessons that, not everything is, you shouldn't assume why a person is homeless. You shouldn't assume that they don't want to work. You shouldn't assume any of those things. Everyone has a different story. So that's kind of my long rant about it. But I truly believe that.
And any of us very quickly could.
Very, very quickly. Very quickly.
Become.
And it's heartbreaking, some of the stories you hear. But I think it's so important. And especially in all the horrible things that are happening in the world. And I know that there was a recent incident in town that was very upsetting to a lot of people. And I understand completely. I was shocked. But remember that Hoboken is a wonderful, safe place for so many people, not just renters or people that live here. For so many people, this is where they can come to and find a home.
All right, very well said. All right, I think we've reached the end of our chat. Thank you for being so open. And is there anything else you want to add?
No, I visit your local library. It has it all.
Yes, absolutely. And a lot of online services for people who don't want to leave their home.
Yeah.
Is that for you as well? Well, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you for just all the wonderful work you're doing around town, and will continue to do. I'm very proud of you.
Thank
you.
you.
As I've watched you.
Yeah. And you've been part of that. You've been part of my helping journey. So thank you.
Oh, we gotta stick together.
Yeah. We need more people to help.
All right. And I want to say, well, wait, full size for a second, Rand, because I want to say, Eric Kammer, if you're watching this later, buddy, I hope everything's good. We miss you on the our number one fan of the show. So I'm sure he'll be tuning in after the fact. But I hope all's good. All right, now we can go. So our guest today was Emily Dalton. I'm certain you enjoyed that. If you, John
Sweet.
O'Toole says the world needs more Emily Daltons. Hear, hear. Again, social worker at the Hoboken Public Library. Go to their website and make an appointment if you need if you need assistance. And if you don't have the computers, you go into the library and ask if they can help you make an appointment, and they'll help you. This has been Hoboken Talks. There probably will be one or two more before the year ends, but you're just going to have to stay tuned on the social media to find out who the guests and who the hosts will be. We want to thank the New Jersey Historical Commission for a grant. How about the New Jersey Council for the Humanities that gave a technology grant? Everything at Hoboken Talks has improved since we began this. We have a new microphone. These lights are great. Maybe a few more bucks for the green screen. I don't know. Maybe. Let's talk. Susan Lawrence says, thanks. It was very informative. Thank you, Emily. Now, the museum is a lot of it's supported by you, the people, and every time you come in and give a couple of bucks, that helps. If you attend an event and it's a few bucks, that helps. The Shipyard Circle, they dig a little deeper, and we appreciate them, but that doesn't make them better than you. But I do like to acknowledge them. Gary and Beth Berman, Andy Carlson, Cynthia Cray, she is Cray, Chris Faulkner and Nancy Lynch, Beth Feinstein, the museum director, Bob Foster, and his lovely wife, Holly Metz. They don't have to contribute, but they do. Barbara Gross, good friend of mine. Valerie Huffnagel and Susan Gambit. Valerie Huffnagel, the lovely backyards of Hoboken. She has created many of those, and she has an asterisk because she's a trustee. Larry and Diana Enriquez. How about Catherine Kingsbury, another trustee? Niall Murray. Some people pronounce that Neil, but I have a friend named Niall, so I pronounce it Niall. Merritt and Joan Patterson. Justin Silverman. David Steele. Another trustee and another close friend of mine, Ellen Stewart. The T. Rowe Price Program for Charitable Giving. It became sentient, and it joined the Shipyard Circle, and that's welcome. If there's any of you out there who are, two-dimensional, non-carbon-based beings, you're welcome to join. How about Bill Tobias, who's a trustee? Other trustee friends, Jack, are Kate Valenta and Alex Johnston. Another trustee, Anthony Vitrano. And don't last alphabetically, but first in our hearts, Peter Wiley. Iron State. Now, back when Emily Dalton was born, they were known as Allied. Applied. See, I've already forgotten it. That's because, you know what? They're Iron State now. Iron State. And they are the landlords of the museum. The rent, you've heard that the rent is too damn high. Not at the museum, $1 a year.
Wow.
Pretty good.
It's a good deal.
Now, the main exhibit, it's been going on for a while, but Rand, how long is that running?
Through the end of just before Christmas.
Get here if you haven't seen it yet. This is a great exhibit. Photojournalist Benedict J. Fernandez, who and talk about family histories in town. His dad worked at the shipyard. He and his brother also started working at the shipyard, and he's like, I think I'd rather take pictures. But he went on the trail of, so I won't, a little bit of a spoiler, but he went where there were protests, both sides he took photos of, and also was inspired by Martin Luther King, and spent the last year of MLK's life with him. So there's some great photos here. If you haven't seen them, come up to the museum. Also, we talked about at the beginning, but maybe you tuned in late, the upper gallery exhibit. And I haven't had a good look at it yet because it just started on November 3rd. There was a lot going on around then. So maybe you were distracted like I was. But it's going to be also open for the through the end of December. Raymond Smith, who's a long time known around town as a fine artist, and some of many of his great works. You've seen 3 of them behind Emily and myself, and now you're seeing 2 more on the screen, but there's even more. So you haven't seen them all. So come here and be sure to come upstairs and take a look. Now this Saturday, there's still some tickets. It's a low ticket alert, but there's a Dueling Sinatras. It's the museum gala, the annual museum gala, and it's going to be held at Stevens Institute from 6 to 10:30 p.m. in the Bissinger room. Now, what does that mean, Dueling Sinatras? Is that like the movie Deliverance?
It's just two Sinatra singers.
2 Sinatra singers. And one of them is young Zach, I want to say Zach Alexander.
That is his name.
That is his name. The other fellow, I apologize. I hope he's watching, tears streaming down his face. Why doesn't he know my name? But that's going to be terrific. A lot of great music. What are we talking? Past hors d'oeuvres?
A lot of food donated from local restaurants.
A lot of food. Open bar?
I'm not sure about the local.
There's something. They're available. Beverages are available.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here is why, if you're watching this on your phone, I want you to take a screenshot of it and then send the screenshot to your email, and then open it on a laptop, and then use your phone to open that QR code.
Will they get a T-shirt for that?
The first person to successfully do that, contact me directly, and I will actually give you one of my own T-shirts. Rand, how else, if they don't, with the QR code, how else would they
Go to HobokenMuseum.org.
go to the website? There's a big button there that says click here.
That's right.
That's going to be a great event. We are all over the social media, Facebook, Instagram, not so much on the X anymore. Where are we? Are we on the Blue Sky?
I don't think so, no.
Are we on Threads?
Not even Mastodon.
Not even Mastodon, but the Instagram, Facebook, those are the 2. Oh, and then YouTube also, which is, some people debate, is that social media? But it helps us, honestly, if you like the accounts, if you comment on things you like, if you have questions, if you have some constructive criticism, that's welcome as well. But you see content you love, share it, subscribe, pound that subscribe button, ring that bell. It just spreads awareness, and it helps us a lot. This has been Hoboken Talks, live from the Hoboken Historical Museum. Rand Hoppy was your technical director. Emily Dalton was our guest this week. And I was your host, Jack Silbert. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a wonderful rest of the week.